Bouzakis, currently ranked number 2 overall. He did not wrestle at Nat Duels when the Buckeyes faced the Huskers. That was Brendan McCrone. And notably, Bouzakis' only loss this year comes to McCrone.
His only loss on the season to his teammate McCrone. McCrone dealing with injury. His season has been sidelined for a second. As the match starts here, we saw as Lauridsen defends a takedown from Bouzakis, but he gets straight through it for 3. We saw the Buckeyes go with a different option at 125 pounds in Minnesota.
Yeah, Brendan McCrone was a great option for them there. But again, this just shows the depth that the Buckeyes have to be able to put out anybody in their room and still manage to get a win.
Bouzakis starts 3-1 quickly. He's looked to turn Lauridsen to his back, but Lauridsen's managed back to his feet. Shot attempt there by Bouzakis, no go. We spoke to assistant coach Jaggers before the match, and he was really excited about the depth this Ohio State team has. Obviously, being able to use their 3rd string Vinny at 125 pounds. Stall call coming out here for Lauridsen. Hasn't done much besides counter Bouzakis' attacks.
And there's been a lot of talk about what the style is for Nebraska. And when we spoke to Jaggers, he spoke about the style that Nebraska brings, and it's through position and scrambling, leaving it all up in the air, and it's reflected here.
Some front head action from Bouzakis. Going to try and take that post away and see if he can get around Lauridsen. He'll try and go into the body there, but Lauridsen done well through this sequence. And now he'll get behind for his 3 go behind for Bouzakis to make it 6-1 halfway through the first period.
And Bouzakis just keeps applying that pressure in all the right places.
Sunk back for Bouzakis, trying to get the fall here at 125 pounds to start off this duel. Lauridsen does well to fight through, but it's 4 near fall for Bouzakis, and he's already in position for a major decision and maybe many more.
And it's just incredibly strong wrestling right away. You talk about intensity, and Ohio State just embodies it in their style.
They are tough, tough wrestlers coming out of the Covelli Center over there in Ohio. As Lauridsen doing his best to hang with the number 2 wrestler in the country, only behind Luke Lillidahl of Penn State. Bouzakis had a good campaign last season, 24-9, was a national qualifier, ended up 2-2 at nationals with a loss to Knox of Stanford. But he seems to be wrestling the best he has in his career to this point, and he's one of the hammers that Ohio State has low in their weight classes. Big shot through there, high C from Bouzakis. It's just about to that point where he will get it. Trying to get to that back ankles Lauridsen, but it'll be 3 for Bouzakis. As the first period comes to a close, a massive 13 points on the board for the Buckeye.
Bouzakis just doing an incredible job of getting those takedowns and running right through Lauridsen to be able to get those 3 points.
Lauridsen will elect to go bottom here, and you got to think that Manning is hoping for some damage control from his freshman.
Bonus points in matchups like these are going to be huge if the Huskers want to hang in with the Buckeyes.
After Iowa, it seemed that Ohio State would have a major advantage over the Huskers, but obviously they're having to rotate their lineup at some weights, so this may end up being closer than they imagined, which makes this match all the more important as big return from Bouzakis puts Lauridsen right back down, belly down.
Just getting that roll through, putting him on his belly, getting those wrists secured. It's going to be key for Bouzakis to control this match.
In that last sequence, Lauridsen did that same kind of sit out where at first he got sucked back in and put down nearly for the fall. This time he was able to get through, but Bouzakis able to follow him through. Tried the claw, but he'll stand up for his 1-point escape, 13-3, with 1:15 to go in the second. The Huskers thought Lauridsen was going to be the answer this year, but he ended up not quite being ready. They've had to rotate with Kaler in there.
Yeah, Kaler wrestled in the last matchup against the Iowa Hawkeyes where he took a 4-2 decision loss against Joey Cruz. It's been quite a toss-up at 125 for the Huskers, and they're still hoping to figure out who is going to be representing them the rest of the season.
With Kaler getting more matches, it was thought maybe Lauridsen was done for the season, but he gets the nod here. So he's trying to work Bouzakis towards the edge. Bouzakis, some of the heaviest hands at 125 pounds in the country. A tall task for anyone. Shot attempt there from Lauridsen. Stuffed and covered. Front head look from Bouzakis.
Bouzakis just doing a great job of applying those hooks and turning it into front head pressure.
Extending that right arm of Lauridsen to try and get his leverage to break. He's got 10 seconds short time to work, but it will be called a stalemate by the refs in their blue and blacks. And we'll see out the rest of the second period. 13-3 the score for Bouzakis. Bouzakis does have the riding time point, 140 in the bank for him. Lauridsen will try to hit claw ride. Bouzakis very good to step right back into him. There's the Granby attempt, covered off well by Kale. And there's the roll, and Kale follows again. Nice series there from the redshirt freshman. But I imagine if you're Bouzakis, this doesn't really come as any concern.
No, I mean, you've already secured the riding time. You already have the major decision, but Lauridsen doing a great job of rolling right through with him and applying that crossface to really bother Nick Bouzakis.
Riding time point is out of the question now. He's got it below 1 minute. As Lauridsen will finally get reversed by Bouzakis. Not a bad series there from the redshirt freshman.
No, may not be the ideal year for Kale Lauridsen, but that's pretty heartening to see if you're Mark Manning.
Four-time state champ Lauridsen in Nebraska, one of many homegrown talents. For Nebraska, Ohio State's got a few homegrown talents of their own. Doesn't include Bouzakis, hailing from Tampa, Florida, as he lets Lauridsen up. And it comes down to a 30-second short time live go to decide if this is going to be a major decision or a tech fall for Nick Bouzakis. Shot attempt there, stuffed by Lauridsen.
This is when you start thinking about team wrestling, trying to avoid all those bonus points that the Buckeyes can gain early on here.
Buckeye trying to find Lauridsen. Lauridsen already has a stall call, so he can't go running yet. But as it ticks down, Kale does well to keep it at a major decision. The Buckeyes start with a victory, 4-0 the team score, as Bouzakis improves to 10-1 in his redshirt junior campaign.
Yeah, it was not ideal for Jacob Van D against Drake Ayala. Ayala managed to get that big win over Van D. Surprisingly, an upset. Tell that to a wrestling fan just a year prior.
Ben Davino, 11 tech falls through his first 18 matches so far as a freshman. He's got some experience in Jacob Van D, a junior. Last year, Van D, 19-12. Ended up All-Americaning at Nationals with a 5-2 performance to take 7th. Davino working Van D towards the edge. And it was said by Ben Davino's father that when he was wrestling as a kid, you try to find these wrestlers' losses, as good attempt there from Davino got Van D stuck. And that is 3 for Davino. You try and find a young wrestler losses, and that's what they did, and that's why he attributes so much success at this level.
And it's really been reflected in that record, but you didn't see Ben Davino wrestle Van D at Nat Duels. He went against Omer Ayu, who won an 11-2 decision. Well, a major, but.
Van D was one of the Huskers at National Duels that got limited time with some shakeups, and Trell Taylor, another one who ended up having a weekend where he had to sit a couple matches out due to injury. We'll see him later on. 3-1, Ben Davino leads just over halfway through this first period And Van D, he won 12 straight before losing to Ayala. He's trying to show that he belongs at the sharp end of 133 pounds.
And what really separates Davino is this hand fighting that we're seeing on display. He's just constantly posting up on Van D's head and forcing him to hand fight him and constantly level changing.
And he's kept Van D towards the edge of that match for the most part of this match so far, under a minute to go. Like you said, Nebraska likes to wrestle through positions, and we saw in that first takedown it was a scramble that ended up going Davino's way, but Van D is a wrestler who likes to operate in those scramble positions.
You really see Davino eating up a lot of real estate and Van D being forced to play defense here, not quite shooting in as often as Davino is willing to.
Coach Jaggers said before the match that Davino is a beautiful asset to have in a wrestling room. He's got the pace, he's stingy, he just loves the sport of wrestling. It's his sport and his hobby, and he's a good follower. And he told me it won't be long before Ben Davino is leading this Buckeye team into duels. As he sees out the first period, 3-1 advantage for the freshman. Davino will opt to take bottom. Here's that takedown. Just got hold of Van D's arm and was able to find position through there. Van D will start on top. Looks like he's trying to get to his feet. Davino. There's that return from Van D. Van D's a tough customer on top, but not enough to keep him down for more than 15 seconds. Davino will grab his escape. It's 4-1.
You just see Davino will his way to stand up, fighting off the hands from Van D. It allows him to get that escape and set up more of these shots that he continuously sets up against Van D.
Some good shot fakes from Van D. Had full down block out from Ben Davino. He's going to need a couple more of those if he's going to go and get a takedown here.
What really stands out about Ben Davino as well, this is his first career meeting with Jacob Van D, but their common opponent, Drake Ayala, Davino took a 10-4 win over Ayala at Nat Duels, much discussed in the wrestling community, which has led to a lot of the relevance that he has today.
Gets that single. Van D tries to step out of it. Now he'll opt to whizzer. Davino brings him up. Van D's gonna try and get funky, get to that other leg. Not a bad effort here. He's got 30 seconds. Both the wrestlers do.
You can feel the stalemate call coming here, unless Jacob Van D can run right through him.
Van D's got that low single shout. He brings Davino up. The crowd will rise with him. A softer crowd here tonight than on Friday, but still ever present. That will be a stalemate call, but not a bad series from Van D.
No, you get to that high center. It makes you more dangerous in that position. Great call by the referees, though.
So Van D and Davino will head to the third period. 4-1 the advantage. It'll be Van D's decision.
If you're Van D here, starting off the third period on bottom, you gotta get an escape quick and set up a shot. Nobody's got the ride time, so it's still anybody's matchup.
The head coaching staff for Ohio State, led by, of course, Tom Ryan, but also Jaggers and Stieber. A lot of championship pedigree in that locker room. Van D going to his go-to moves. Tight waist from Davino. And there, he'll cut away for a 4-2 deficit. And not often we've seen so far from Van D this year that he's had to go chasing in the third quarter.
You know, we actually had a lot of talks leading up to the Iowa matchup for Nebraska, and we spoke to Shane Sparks, and he spoke about the kind of mentality that you have coming off a big loss and how that puts you in a corner and forces you to wrestle your best against opponents like Ben Davino visiting Devaney today.
Van D said that his mindset changed from sophomore to junior year. Something clicked, and he's been much more intense and much more he's operating with much more conviction with his wrestling.
His confidence has really skyrocketed, and it was reflected in the fact that he hadn't lost since November until Ayala came to town.
But Davino holds the lead. How impressive has he been? We talked about the 11 tech falls as Van Dies tried to force some action. He took down Evan Frost of Iowa State in a 4-2 decision. That was a huge result for him with 40 seconds to go. Van Dies doing a lot of work with his hands, but not a lot. There's a shot attempt stuffed. Now he's got that 2-on-1 stall call for Davino. Van Dies trying to work that head. Shot attempt, low single from Davino. Tried to roll through his Van Dies, and Davino's gonna pop out for 3.
Great defensive wrestling from Ben Davino. Does not allow Van Dies to get that shot off, and he just stuffs him and turns it into 3.
Ben Davino manages the pressure wonderfully to take a 7-2 victory over number 8 Jacob Van Dies to make the team score 7-0 as Ben Davino improves to 19-0.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
And the Buckeyes just continuing their brilliance on the road.
Hardy was one of those guys for Nebraska you think is almost guaranteed points, but it won't be today with 1 second left. As Mendez, major decisions, Brock Hardy 14-3 in an emphatic 141-pound bout. He gets the W, and that's got to be a statement of intent for what he plans to do in March.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
3-3 riding time, not a factor for either wrestler.
Have yet to see Lamer in a sudden victory, period.
Shot there from Stiles. He wants to go get it done in regular time. Lamer is going to do what he needs to do to see it through to sudden victory.
This will be the first time we've seen Lamer in sudden victory as a Husker.
And you got to think this is a big one for the Huskers if they want to get back into this duel.
This could kickstart a potential comeback for the Huskers if they're able to pick up this win.
Shot from Stiles deep there on Lamer's leg. Lamer will try and work that front head. It seems like he's got his legs loose. He'll go behind. Roll from Stiles. He just manages to get back ahead. What a sequence there. And so we've ended up in the same position we were about 10 seconds ago. Lamer was almost through. Tied up in each other's ties. Still leverage for Lamer. Stiles is going to get his head out there, and they're back to equal pegging. 3-3 shot attempt from Stiles, countered by Lamer. He's going to get to that single leg. Both wrestlers look to be gassed. Stiles shot attempt there. Lamer's going to try and put heavy hips on him. Stiles is going to bring him up. Lamer trying to get to that backside. Wrapped around his chest. Here comes Stiles through the backside. And he will just try to maneuver his way around that top leg. Lamer probably hoping for a stalemate, and he finally collapses as Ethan Stiles takes the 6-3 sudden victory win for the Buckeyes.
And that's just all about motor. Stiles kept going at it, did not let up. Both of those guys were so gassed out, and it just came down to who was more exhausted. Yeah, he picked up a win last time out against Iowa here. He had a controversial 1-0 match, unlike anything we've ever seen before.
He ended up winning that match on a stall call against Jordan Williams, ended up pushing him right off the mat. In sudden victory, Williams did well to stick with the reigning national champion, but now they've got the scoreboard fixed and we'll start 3 minutes. The first period, Antrell Taylor versus Maddox Shaw. Antrell hasn't stepped down to a knee. There he is. One of the main beneficiaries of knee wrestling across the sport. It's been something that's been talked about widely on various different outlets. But Antrell uses it to his advantage to limit the other person's attack while increasing his own explosivity off those leaves, as we get an eye poke from Maddox Shaw, obviously unintentional.
Yeah, when you talk about knee wrestling, obviously the piece of conversation that comes up is Angelo Ferrari's match against Penn State. But back to that knee wrestling point, it just gives up so much real estate if you're unwilling to cut off so much access to your lower limbs.
He will engage in the handshake, and we're back wrestling. 2:15 left in the first period. Antrell Taylor and Maddox Shaw. 157 pounds. Ohio State leads 14-0. Huskers came into the season ranked number 2 in the country. Obviously, they sled it all the way down to 6 after national duels. I mean, what's different from this team to last year's team that finished second at nationals?
Obviously, you get a lot of your guys back, but Rich Lovett isn't here. He's gone on and graduated, hoping to make Team USA. But then you get that switch up at heavyweight from Harley Andrews over to AJ Ferrari, and you're forced to redefine 125 with Caleb Smith. It's quite the difference when you talk about those guys that have been in your system for a couple years, 2-3 years, or their entire career, to now having to switch gears and really focus on the guys that are seasoned veterans in your room.
Nebraska has had to turn to the transfer portal, obviously adding Lamer and AJ Ferrari this offseason, as Taylor pushes Shaw towards the boundary, as many teams have done so far to kind of supplement their lineup. Ohio State has done it too. They added Fishbach and Stiles to replace their 2 qualifiers that left. Regatska, the one at 84. Another poke in the eye from Shaw. And they'll get back to work. 45 seconds to go. Antrell will try and get around to that single, bring it up. Taylor's got it pocketed in his armpit, and here comes Antrell Taylor. There's 3 for the Husker.
And you just love to see him shelve that ankle and trip up his opponent. You know, when I spoke to Shane Sparks when he came here to the Bob Devaney Center on Friday, we spoke about Antrell Taylor and how he just gains a second gear from this crowd.
Taylor will opt to go neutral straight away. He's not interested in wrestling on the bottom. Deep shot from Shaw, stuffed well by Antrell, and he'll try and get to work. With that front head series, that same front head series that here in the Bob Devaney Center, as he slides by, trying to get to that body lock, but he'll go single instead. We have a man on the mission. He's got 13 seconds to try and make something happen. He'll bring him right up, same position we saw, and trip straight to his belly. That's 3 for Antrell Taylor to finish the first period. And Antrell Taylor is wrestling with a fire under his belly. And you got to think, the Huskers need bonus points from this matchup, considering that there's no cannon here.
Yeah, you're looking to the star in Antrell Taylor.
Deep shot from Shaw, stuffed by Antrell Taylor.
Antrell Taylor's your guy. When you need points to be put on the board, you look to Taylor.
That front head series, he pinned Stony Buell of Purdue from that series.
Taylor has yet to lose in Big Ten play. He's verging on the 4-0 dual start.
Yep, he's won 8 in a row since national duels. And there was a lot of talk after national duels for Taylor about where he was going to shake out at 157. Some were challenging his championship pedigree. But he's done well so far. Here's that body lock, and down for 3.
Just a great job by Antrell Taylor to get that double and then cut him loose right away to set up another shot.
Shot attempt from Shaw. Nothing there. Antrell trying to work him off. Stall call there for Shaw.
Obviously no love lost between the two wrestlers. Antrell seems to be taking the two eye pokes a little seriously.
Antrell back to work. Shaw, he's a true freshman thrown into the lineup. He's wrestling up a weight as well. He's a 149-pounder. So he's done honestly well enough to combat that loss of weight. You know, his only losses are to really competitive guys at this level, Jackson Joy and Sergio Limley, picking up 13 of them.
Antrell seemed to almost go for that cradle attempt.
Shaw will stay on his leg. He's got 8 seconds to fight through this rest of the second period. And that's how it'll finish the second period, 10-2, Antrell Taylor leads.
Yeah, if I'm Antrell Taylor, I'm circling this one and I'm expecting a full comeback.
Brandon Cannon obviously suffering that injury. He's taken a big step, Cannon has. He was a qualifier last year, but starting the season 14-1, has only lost to Melvin Miller, the stud high schooler. Not a bad first impression, as good series here from Shaw, and Taylor will finally step out of it. Seemed almost like Shaw was going to fight back and get towards a takedown attempt on Taylor, but Taylor ever squirmy in those transition periods.
You're Shaw, you're doing a little bit of team wrestling here. Pausing for additional blood time, it seems.
Maybe a counter eye poke. Taylor is 1 point off of a major decision. Got to imagine that's what Manning told him over in the corner. Stay calm and go get it done.
Heavily
Taylor
relying on these team points now.
trying to work those underhooks. But he'll reset his headgear, kind of wobbled off there. He's got a minute left. Both wrestlers do. Shaw has done well. Not the first time this season that Antrell has come up against a true freshman. He faced Joey Antonio of Army in their season opener, ended with a 5-1 victory. And it's a recurring theme that when you're the champion, guys are going to come out onto the mat and try to wrestle harder than they've ever wrestled before.
It's all about setting the tone, and if you're the champion, you got to defend that belt.
Taylor stalking towards Shaw. 25 seconds left. There's the second stall call for Shaw, and that'll be a point for Taylor. He leads 11-3, so the major is in the bag. And it looks like Taylor will see this one out. A nice response from the Husker from Omaha, Nebraska. Millard South graduate. He's won here 11-3 over Maddox Shaw. Puts Nebraska on the board. Major decision for the junior.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
You gotta
Wouldn't be a
keep
bad
moving.
shout, especially when Burton is the one that needs to go get one.
You have to keep moving. Burton very much on the verge of a stall warning.
There's the shot attempt from Burton that they were looking for. Countered by LJ, and now LJ is going to try and go to work. Great duck under attempt, but it's nowhere. Deep shot from Burton. Gets to that far ankle of LJ. LJ is going to try and go to work on the scramble. He's got that crotch lift. What can the Husker do here? Looked like he was trying to get some swipes. He'll come out on top. Both wrestlers still have a leg. Now Burton is trying to come through the middle. Big sprawl from LJ. trying to get back to that crotch lift position that he loves so much, as Burton trying to come out the back. They've got 24 seconds. Burton, this would be a dagger if he could get it. LJ trying to come out the back. 15 seconds, short time here. LJ and Burton. 10. Can Burton find the difference? 1-0. He's gonna start tugging on that knee. Watch the knee, the ref says. He's not gonna get it done. 1-0. LJ Araujo gets the decision victory over his redshirt freshman counterpart.
It was scrappy, wasn't very pretty, but LJ manages the win over Burton. And you gotta be pleased if you're the Ohio State coaching staff with that effort from Burton. A lot of promise there.
Yes, a 2-1 TB1 loss to Patrick Kennedy. Mento is in and around the sharp sticks at the top of the 174-pound bracket, and one of those guys up there is Kharchla. 12-1 on the season. He's had a good season so far. He beat Mento 5-1 at national duels, and he took down number 5 Matthew Singleton 8-4 NC State duel. He's on an 8-match win streak, and he's been untouchable for the last month or so.
These are 2 All-Americans looking to establish what their later competition is going to look like at Big Tens and the national tournament.
Well, it's been a while since Kharchla was an All-American. It was 2022. He placed 7th. Last year, he ended up losing to Lenny Pinto of the Huskers for potential All-American honors. He's a 3-time qualifier from Ohio, another native kid wrestling for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, Mento's a little far from home, from Cape Coral, Florida. He hadn't lost since Alex Facundo, but then took that tough loss to Patrick Kennedy. But he was a pleasant surprise for the Huskers last year and looks to continue that here.
The Huskers didn't really know where they were going to go post Bubba Wilson, but after Wilson got injured, kind of spelled the end of his Huskers career after Mento came in and took the ground running, placing 4th last year in All-American as a redshirt freshman with that vintage win over number 4 Barraclaw of Utah Valley. Shot attempt there from Mento. Kharchla's just going to step right around it and try to work with some leverage, but they'll reset halfway through the first period. Mento, Kharchla.
And this is just another Nat Duels rematch. Kharchla won 5-1 against Mento last time out. Obviously going to try and get a different result here, but the Buckeyes have just made the most out of those Nat Duels rematches that we've seen.
Shot attempt from Kharchla, deep on Mento. Mento knows how to scramble. Occasionally, he's pretty good at it. He'll step through. Kharchla's not going to let go of that leg. And we're in an interesting position. Mento's got both legs wrapped up on the back end here, trying to sit out and get his leg free. And that'll be a stalemate call, and probably the right stalemate call. He avenged his loss against Facundo of Oklahoma State from Nat Duels in their duel here at the Bob Devaney. He's obviously hunting the same fate for Kharchla. Kharchla's been around for a while, couple injuries he's dealt over his Ohio State career, but he's found his way here. The resilience all up and down that Buckeye lineup is something to be applauded.
And it just speaks to that culture that they've got. When we spoke to the Ohio State coaching staff, it's our stuff, our skills, our style.
They want to dictate everything. Right now, it's 0-0. Mento and Kharchla with 20 seconds to go in the first period. One shot attempt from Kharchla. Mento countered. Some fakes from Mento. Other than that, hasn't been much action, but I don't think either coach is going to hate that through the first period.
Again, it's just a sign of respect between 2 great wrestlers. You're not looking to shoot in too much. You're just feeling out your opponent in that first period.
Mento shows another shot attempt there as the clocks hit zeros, and we'll roll into the second period. It'll be Mento's choice. Manning wants him to go get his easy escape point, but it's hardly easy against a wrestler of Kharchla's quality.
Kharchla kind of got a similar build to Patrick Kennedy, something that Mento struggled with in terms of getting his hands wrapped around him.
Kennedy served as a straitjacket on Mento. We'll see, he's gone with the sit out here. Obviously, Lauridsen tried this in his match and got sucked back for 4 near fall, but Mento will cut away and finally step up for his point here in the second period. So 18 seconds of riding time for Kharchla, as now both wrestlers will try and go to work on their feet. Deep shot attempt there from Kharchla. Got to that high point there, but Mento managing to get to that crotch lift. Hooked that back leg. This is one of the Nebraska wrestlers' strong suits. It's these scramble positions. As sitting on that low single, they'll try and roll through. Mento is going to try and get leverage and come out the back. But Kharchla's still got that ankle. Both wrestlers wrestling from their sides. Looks like a scrap you'd see between some brothers on the couch.
I'm quite familiar with a brotherly scrap. But yeah, you just, in those positions, it's kind of following suit of the Araujo versus Burton matchup, where it's always a leg grab. You're securing ankles. You get the 1 point off the escape, and these points are very hard to come by later in the match.
Obviously, Burton opted to go neutral instead of down. Maybe that's a little shakiness from the nerves. Obviously, Kharchla is not going to have that. He'll probably go down to start the third period. So we're looking at still, as it was at National Duels, first takedown will probably dictate this match, but so far I've liked Kharchla's looks a little bit better. Mento's defense has been stout, but Mento's yet to get deep in on a leg on his own.
Both these wrestlers have gotten to the positions that they want. It's all about finishing out the shot.
Mento slightly taller than Kharchla, gives him a slight advantage in those points, but as you can see, Kharchla is pretty stout in his own right. As that will take us to the end of the second period. Mento leads by 1, and we've got a big third period for the duel right here. Right, the Huskers trail by 7, really strong, small lineup for the Buckeyes, but the Huskers have to go win some matches that they didn't win at National Duels if they want to get back into this one.
Yeah, if you're going to kickstart a comeback, it has to start here, and Mento's going to be key for this one.
Mento looks to that ankle, but solid as you can be. The rock-colored singlet there from Kharchla indicates his style on bottom. It's all 1, so 1:45 to go in this third period. Mento and Kharchla, they've been level throughout this entire match, giving and taking, flowing. Shot there, low single from Mento. He's going to try and double up. Big sprawl from Kharchla. I mean, what a defensive attempt there from Kharchla. Now he's got the underhooks. What a move there. They'll fall out of bounds, but looked like a quick duck under from Kharchla. And if he didn't get that hand caught, it could have been something there. But Mento manages to take him out of bounds.
And that's something we've seen a lot from Mento. He has no issue getting to that single leg. He just is not able to finish those shots as strongly as he was at the beginning of the season.
1 minute remaining, Mento and Kharchla here. Riding time is not a factor. Mento probably hoping the Davino can get loud. Shot attempt there from Kharchla. Mento's going to go back to his defense. This is a promising position for Kharchla. Try and sit through that high center position. Mento's going to roll him through and try to keep getting that position. The ref seeing what he wants to call, what he doesn't. Still only got that 1 leg, does Kharchla. As he starts to come through, but Mento's going to come around the other leg. He's got to keep that leg in a good position. He's got both of them now. Still nothing yet. 10 seconds to go. And this scramble will probably take us to the end of the match. Kharchla is going to come through the back. He's got 3 seconds to go get one. Mento is going to stay strong. It will end 1-1. so we will head to sudden victory for the second time today. The last one, the Huskers fell 6-3. Lamer to Stiles, but here we go at the Bob Davino.
Second consecutive sudden victory match for Mento. And this is exactly what I was talking about. You gotta not empty out the gas tank as we see the brick thrown from Ohio State.
Ohio State gonna have the refs take a look at that final few positions there, scrambles there. Yeah, I think that was just a call just to try and see if there was anything there, but yeah.
It could also be a strategic way to get a little bit of rest before heading into sudden victory.
I think both wrestlers could benefit from that as we start sudden victory. Kharchla versus Mento. Just as close as the match in national duels, that was a 5-1 win for Kharchla. Mento's brought it to this point. Shot attempt from Kharchla. Stepped through by Mento. He's gonna get deep on a shot. Oh, Kharchla can just get that leg out. It's either wrestler's game. Mento deep on a shot. He's gonna chase that back ankle. Kharchla's gonna step around. Both wrestlers back to hanging on to ankles. And there's the stalemate. Looked like Mento and Kharchla had chances to win it there.
And just really smart wrestling from Kharchla to avoid the early takedown to end this match.
The Husker team trying to get behind Mento. Same for the Buckeyes. Everyone's on their feet in this arena. 1:18 to go. Mento, Kharchla, 1-all. And this is where great wrestlers operate. You've gone through the whole match. Now it's time for overtime. All you've got for 7 minutes and more. 8 minutes and counting. Minute left in sudden victory. Shot attempt from Mento. He's gonna get up, try to double off. He's gonna come around. He's just gotta step over that leg. And he'll have it, that's 3 for Christopher Mento, and the Bob Davino erupts.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Ethan Stiles was the other one. He got the overtime win over Lamer. Fishbach did what he needed to do against McElney. A couple nights ago, he just fell a little bit short into overtime with McElney going 2-0 in that homestand. Minute 15 left. Shot attempt from Fishbach. Allred will swing out of it.
There's no shame in losing to the Minnesota 184. I mean, he's having himself quite a nice year, and he's always a threat at Big Tens and NCAAs.
We saw that duck under attempt from Fishbach. I wonder if he'll go back to it. He got good level change off of it, but he was a little too far away from Allred to get it done. Allred's going to try and work towards the edge of the mat. Don't want to linger out there on the borderlands for too long. Big snap down from Fishbach. Allred matches. Locked together here. Looks like Rams on a cliff face. Fishbach shot to the far single. Allred's gonna try and use the boundary to his advantage. The toe still in for Fishbach as of now. And that'll be the end of the first period. So Allred manages to outlast Fishbach's attempt there. But I like the aggressiveness of Fishbach in that one.
Yeah, you definitely want him to see him finish that out, run through Allred a little stronger, and that's where you kind of fall short when you're wrestling at the edge of the mat. And that center circle is much more advantageous for you to set those kinds of shots up. If you're Ohio State's coaching staff, you're definitely wishing you had that brick right about then.
Obviously, Ohio State lost the brick when they threw it in the last match on that scramble between Mento and Kharchla. Allred will start on bottom. He's not the type to get caught on bottom, but Big returns from Fishbach are not an uncommon occasion. Big slam from Dylan Fishbach. And riding time might play a difference. He's got 20 seconds and counting. If he can hold down Allred for more than a minute, that will put him in prime position to get this done, and Allred will step out. Big re-attack. So he will not get his escape point. Did not quite disconnect enough.
No, Fishbach did a great job of just sticking one hand on him and not letting go and just running right through him as soon as he repositions.
Fishbach taking his time, getting back to the center. He's got 30 seconds in his belt. Allred tries to sit out. Gonna follow. Stands up here. He got to the same position a couple seconds ago. And there he cuts a little cleaner by holding both of those hands back, and he's got the advantage, 1-0. Riding time not a factor.
Stiles is just a great defensive wrestler, and he's so patient. Every single shot comes at a premium with Allred.
That is his strength, but his drawback is it comes on the offensive end, often failing to score against the top opponents. We'll see if that changes here. Fishbach kind of caught in Allred's trap here. A little shot fake from Allred, trying to keep Fishbach on his toes, and they break. 40 seconds to go in the second period. Allred leads 1-0. A big match right here, considering there are two more after it. And this duel is far from over. 14-10, Ohio State leads.
The outcome of this match determines who might possibly win this thing. Nebraska favored in the rankings-wise in those last two weights at 197 and heavyweight.
And with the first period coming to a close, or the second period, sorry, Allred leads Fishbach 1-0. You're starting to think about back into the duel where Lamer lost in sudden victory, and maybe Bouzakis could have gotten that tech fall against Lauridsen. You know, you start to make these what-ifs, whatever happens. But now it's all focused on 184 pounds and the third period. Manning still has his brick trying to guide Allred to a big top 5 win. And Fishbach trying to defend his top 5 ranking and get another win over Allred. Will stand straight up to his feet. Allred doesn't seem too interested. He'll try a return attempt there. Just tiptoed out of it was Fishbach. They're going to go to the edge of the mat. He's got to be careful not to give up a stall call. Big lift, and again he tiptoes out. I think Allred will be okay trying to ride here, but what he needs to make sure he does, if he chooses to do so, he needs to not linger on top when they are standing for too long, because a stall call here could end up determining the match outcome.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that last Friday, stall calls deciding matches, especially within that 157 matchup.
Yep, and neither wrestler has a stall call yet, but once you get one, increases the chances for another one. Now they step up back to their feet, and Allred's going to try and drop down, and there's the escape for Fishbach. So riding time done and dusted. There's nothing to do there. It's 1-1, Fishbach versus Allred.
And this is exactly what you were talking about, Ian. Next takedown wins when you get to these situations. It's all tied up. It's 0-0 again, and nobody's got the ride time. You got to go out and get a shot. Both
wrestlers kind of like Mento and Kharchla, waiting for the right time to strike. Differently than the last match, Kharchla and Mento were scrambling almost the entire time, whereas I don't think Allred and Fishbach have gotten into that complicated of a fixture quite yet.
Yeah, and it's such a stark contrast to the rest of these lineups with a lot of high-volume scorers. Obviously, you didn't see Brandon Cannon today, but Ohio State still has plenty of guys that are high volume. They're looking to score as much as possible.
Shot from Fishbach. Kind of a shallow shot. Allred just follows along. 30 seconds to go, a little less than. Allred and Fishbach all tied up at 1. We're looking at a potential sudden victory match in a row. Low single attempt from Fishbach. Allred wasn't ready for that. Allred will have to work towards that back ankle, and he will get a big sprawl. If he can get past that arm, it would do something for him. He's got 8 seconds. Allred doesn't have it there. Fishbach will come back to his feet, and we will advance to sudden victory over time.
Fishbach's leg drive was just too much for Allred to secure that single leg. And again, a second consecutive sudden victory situation between these two teams.
For the rest of sudden victory, he stepped aside, looked like he banged up his head a little bit there. But so far through the first periods, a little bit of action here and there, but they felt their way here. And now both wrestlers are gonna have to wrestle from a little bit colder than they were than just before this. Allred and Fishbach, 1-1. Big dual implications on the line. Who can get the first takedown? Only seen Fishbach get real deep on shots. Allred's been defending so far through the rest of the match.
Allred and Fishbach coming out into this one cold. It's going to be a tough sudden victory period for the both of them.
Deep low single from Fishbach. Allred trying to go to crack back, but good hand position. That hand sliding up the back. Allred, great scramble back up to his knees. He looked dead to rights there. Trying to knee slide in is Fishbach. Allred is going to take this to a stalemate. I thought Fishbach had him there.
And you see some disagreements from the crowd. Obviously, these two guys are such excellent defensive wrestlers, and it's so hard to come back cold after spending about 4 minutes not on the mat, and you just kind of have to run around, get yourself jogging a little bit, maybe put on a sweater if you have to.
1 minute of sudden victory left. Fishbach and Allred. I think some of the crowd is wanting stalling of some sort on Fishbach, but Allred hasn't done all sorts of much either. Shot there, as I talk about it, deep in from Allred at the edge of the mat. He's trying to bring that single up. He'll bring it back. Trip there from Allred, trying to get to that back leg. He won't go. Brings it back in, Allred. Fishbach gets to that ankle. Not a bad defense there from Dylan Fishbach. They have 28 seconds. And that is going to be called potentially dangerous on Allred's knee for Fishbach. Fishbach taking his time back to the center. 25 seconds, short time here, 1-1. Sudden victory, Allred and Fishbach. A lot on the line. Allred and Fishbach are gonna tie up. Some half shot attempts here and there to see out sudden victory 1. And we'll go to the extra periods. The coin flip goes green. And he'll defer. Allred will take bottom. Now he's got 30 seconds to get onto his feet and get his point here. Fishbach taking his time.
Should Allred get off his feet, get onto his feet, stand back up and get his point. He has the advantage going to the additional period beyond that, unless he can turn it into more points.
Straight out goes Allred. Now he has a chance to go get some more. Pushing Fishbach towards the barrier. 2-1 now the Husker leads. Not much action from either opponent here. Allred getting chants from the home crowd as they will head to tiebreaker number 2. Now the choice goes to Fishbach. He will have to go neutral as the rules dictate. Fishbach needs a takedown. Deep shot off the start. Good defense from Allred. Both no stall calls for either wrestler. So Allred can do as he pleases for a little while, trying to dictate how this is gonna go. Some big ties up. He's got 10 seconds, Fishbach does. He needs to go get one here. Last-ditch effort from Fishbach. Gets to the leg of Allred. Allred steps away. Allred will stay on the mat. Another attempt. Allred doesn't really have to care. That will be it. Thunderous applause for Silas Allred.
to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
The top end of this duel was going to be very close. Deep double from Geog. He's going to try and get up. Big sprawls from McDanel. He's got him on his tiptoes, and McDanel does well to get out of that. And a reshot for the Husker. Now in crackback. He's going to try and step over that far leg. If he can do that, it'll be 3, but nothing yet. There an attempt. Crotch lift from Geog stabilizes. Geog's going to try and come around to that far ankle. Still nothing yet. 20 seconds. McDanel's going to try and come through and hook that leg. That's 3 points on the edge of the mat for Camden McDanel to take a 3-point lead with just seconds to spare.
You got 1 second if you're Luke Geog. You're hoping for a miracle.
No stall call for either wrestler, and he's still on bottom. Now they've reset it to 5 seconds.
And what a series for Camden McDanel.
And Geog admits defeat. McDanel gets it done at 197 pounds to give the Huskers the dual lead from the death. They have seemed to slide on back.
And this is a totally different duel now.
And Lovett said that the Huskers were banged up at national duels. That's why it seems so lopsided. A lot of the wrestling fans in this country seem to count out the Huskers. The Buckeyes and the Huskers are entangled here in a close duel. Ferrari and Feldman, 2:40 to go in the first period. Feldman, one of the stronger heavyweights, and he's built so well, and he's one of the few wrestlers that will get down against Ferrari and will go straight head to head, get down into his stance. I mean, Feldman is such a talented wrestler, coming off a national qualification, one match off from an All-American last year. His only losses are to Bastida, #1, and Trumbull, #2. I mean, Feldman's the real deal.
And again, speaking about that build, just look at that thick neck. When AJ tries to post up on his head, he just isn't moving. He's so steady, he's so calm and concentrated, focused on his opponent.
Ferrari missed some time with an injury earlier in the season. He missed the Oklahoma State duel. But now he has a chance to contribute to a duel for the Huskers. He's wrestled duels for the Huskers. He gets to contribute here in a meaningful match at the end. A lot of feeling each other out, posting, working ties. Ferrari doing his signature tap, tap, fake, tap, doing a little bit of that. But Feldman as solid as they get. Ferrari choosing to do his usual showmanship. It's hard to separate that from him, but he backs it up.
Yeah, Ferrari, the former champ at 197 when he was at Oklahoma State. He's coming off a big win against Coy Hopke. Managed another win against Ben Keeter in the Huskers matchup against the Hawkeyes last Friday. Been quite the strong heavyweight campaign for the senior.
He had to bulk up a little bit. And it shows in matches like these where he's not quite built like a heavyweight. But he does enough to stay in those matches, yeah. I mean, Feldman, he's coming off a major decision of Hopke, 11-2 up in Minnesota. The same Hopke that Ferrari only won 2-1. And now that may be down to stylistic differences between the two. As this match will, I feel, always be a close one. And I don't believe this will be the last time that these two see each other, especially with Big Tens and Nationals just around the corner.
There's just no exact science to winning these kinds of matchups.
Deep shot from Ferrari. Here's that re-attacks that were so difficult. He's pushing Feldman. There's the stall call. So a stall call at the end of the first period gives advantage Ferrari. So Tom Ryans is going to have a word with the referee here. A real hard guy to break down. He'll sit out. Ferrari's going to try do something there. He will continue to attack those legs and start racking up that riding time point. There's a stall call for Ferrari. As he was trying to bring Feldman back in, and now it's Manning's turn to have a word. Ferrari's gonna stay working on top. But eventually Feldman will squirm through, and it's 1-0 to Feldman. Now both wrestlers wary of the call that they have on them.
We're hoping to see some expert hand fighting here from the two wrestlers.
One note to make about their national duels fight, there was a lot of blood time for Feldman. He ended up busting open his nose, and so there was a lot of stoppages there. Also for Ferrari, he had a couple, he had that end of the second period where he ended up taking a sit on the edge of the mat, seemed to hit his head a little bit. So both wrestlers not maybe wrestling at their potential best there at national duels, which sets up a really interesting sequence here in this matchup. Obviously, duel on the line, 16-14. The Huskers have found their way into a lead off of 5 straight victories. Ferrari trying those shots. Now, Ferrari has to be wary of the way that he backs up sometimes with his stance. Just as Feldman with his on the edge of the mat.
Yeah, both these guys have got to be really careful with that stall. It could determine the outcome of this match, and there's no ride time playing a factor here, so this is entirely going to be in the third period.
Ferrari taking shots at Feldman, trying to give those refs something to think about. Ferrari's going to go down. He's going to try and go take his point. I don't mind that action from both wrestlers there. Feldman needs to get to this final exchange, because if you're going to use your effort on a shot, might as well do it when there's no time left. But Ferrari, couple re-attacks in a row, trying to give the refs something to think about.
Obviously no love lost from Mento as Ferrari gets the escape.
Quick escape, he's telling Feldman he wants it. He's won for the show, Ferrari. 1 minute and 45 seconds to decide this duel. Number 2, Ohio State, number 6, Nebraska. Crowd chanting AJ.
And we've seen this in consecutive matches from the Huskers where it'll all come down to this third period. We've seen two consecutive sudden victory matches.
Deep shot there for Feldman. He's going to chase after Ferrari. They will turn out of bounds before Feldman can establish control. The refs want him to hurry this thing up. That was a close call there for both wrestlers. Feldman, like I said, conserving for that shot, and he almost had it there.
Yeah, if he had just been able to run through Ferrari about 10 inches prior to that, he probably would have finished out the shot and had 3 more points than he has.
And what a win it would be for Ohio State to come back here. The momentum is in Nebraska's favor, but the Buckeyes are the number 2 ranked in the country. We'll see. There's a minute left here. Another match going to the final minute of the third period, tied 1-1. It'd be a shame to see this decided by a stall call, so these wrestlers are going to have to go to work. Ferrari and Feldman. Feldman won the first time. We'll see how it goes this time. Both are going to level change down. I would be wary of that leaning back from Ferrari. Yep, I can see how the refs would see this, but I don't think they want to decide it on a stall call. 25 seconds left. One of these wrestlers has to go get one here. Ferrari, Feldman. Ferrari trying to pressure into Feldman. Ferrari's got to stay in this one. 10 seconds left. Feldman just tracking him towards the edge of the mat. It seems like they'll be content to take this on to another sudden victory. Same as it was for Mento and Allred. And Lamer.
What a match to do so. This has been nothing short of marvelous here today.
Yes, Ethan Stiles got the win for Ohio State in the first overtime match. Then it was 2 losses for the Buckeyes at 174 and 184. Both coaches encouraging pace here from both their wrestlers. It's going to come down to this. Ferrari shot there from Feldman. They're going to exchange a couple, but they'll eventually reset. I've liked how Feldman's adjusted since the first period. He's taken the match right back to Ferrari and not been scared of him. Shot attempt from Ferrari, attacked back by Feldman.
Feldman very obviously mindful of those re-attacks from Ferrari on every shot.
That was the game plan going into this. That's the dangerous part of Ferrari. He can chain a couple attacks together, but Feldman is just so hard to work with. You can see the ref trying to get both wrestlers to work. Now Feldman can dictate what happens. Ferrari falls to Feldman. That is 3 in sudden victory. And they are still wrestling. The call has been over. Feldman has won, 4-1. Nick Feldman takes the duel from the jaws of the Huskers, and the Buckeyes get it done.